is a 粽子. This too is a 粽子. This is a 粽子. And this is a 粽子. And this is also a 粽子. Also known as a rice dumpling, it's a traditional Taiwanese snack that is served all year round, but is especially popular at this time of year for what's known as Dragon Boat Festival. And as with many different traditional Taiwanese snacks here in this country, there are a plethora of different styles, regions, and cooking methods for this snack. And today, I'm going to take you on a culinary journey as we see how many of those different zongzi we can eat in one day. And we are starting here with what I'm told is a South-style zongzi, and it comes from the store right over my shoulder. Their store name is Gu Zao Wei Rozong. Now, the Southern style apparently uses a wider, more delicate, more fragrant leaf. Apparently the ingredients inside are fried and cooked, then added to uncooked rice before being wrapped up in the bamboo leaf. And then I read that it's boiled, but I saw this guy is like kind of high pressure cooking them, and I asked him how long it takes. They're cooked under high pressure for up to an hour, and then what you're left with is this beautiful pyramid rice triangle style. This flavor is a hua sen, peanut flavor, and also from the reviews I've read online, this zongzi is softer. 在这里，对，我拍自己。
你拍自己啊？
对。
哦，那你要上传。
对，我是 YouTuber. YouTube. 对对对。I'm trying my best to get this video done, but I'm having too much fun interacting with the locals. Time to take a bite. 合家. This one seems to be a fatty option. I do think they make some more fatty than others. But yeah, there's a nice big chunk of pork fat in there. Bye-bye. And I asked some of my Taiwanese friends before starting to eat, what's the best way to eat zongzi? And they told me you must add some spicy sauce. Now, here in Taichung, Dongqian Lajiang is the sauce of choice, but the sauce my friend recommended to me, and I've seen on a couple of Instagram posts, is this one, which I just picked up from the supermarket. So just a little bit on the top. Should add a whole other level of flavors to this zongzi. As always, I'm surprised by the soft texture of the peanuts. 你好。
好吃吗？
好吃。
好吃，赞。
好吃。
你要说赞。
赞。
哎。
粽子好赞。你吃过他们的吗？
啊，有。
好几个。
我就隔壁都嘛有在吃。
啊 ，OK。
我就帮忙给他卖。
啊 ，OK。
听得懂吗？
听得懂，听得懂，听得懂。But this zongzi is definitely high in the rankings for me.
一个吃不饱了。一个吃不饱。
我今天要吃5个。
你要吃5个？
我就是要买1颗粽子。
1颗粽子，好的。
好，谢谢。
谢谢。
1、2、3、4、5。
好。
And the next style of zongzi we're going to try is this湖洲粽子, my second of the day. And one thing I want to say is that when I asked my Taiwanese friends where is the best zongzi, their answer was from my grandma's house. So zongzi is a very family-inspired dish. So this location that we bought this from is very interesting. There's a big sign on the side of this apartment building wall, and you go inside, follow the directions, and it just takes you to somebody's apartment. It's been here for years. I came here several years ago. A more family style, less restaurant style zongzi, which is the way that it should be done, apparently. Now, Huzhou zongzi is a little bit different. It obviously comes in a different style. It's longer, but there are some distinct differences apparently between this and the South style. So let's get it open and see what's different. Similar kind of leaf, still a little bit oily. Apparently the ingredients in this one are a little bit more simple, and I was expecting this to have a shorter grain rice, but the ones that we had for breakfast, this one is for brunch I guess, the breakfast one, the rice grains seem to be shorter or more like balls. Let's give it a go. There's more of a sweeter flavor to this, not so savory. It's not a sweet zongzi, we'll come to that later, but apparently Huzhou zongzi can be served sweet or savory. This is a savory one, but it's sweeter than what I had this morning. And so far I've just eaten the rice. You can see a couple of big chunks of meat. I'm gonna add some sauce before I get that meat eaten. Oh my goodness, look at that. That just screams Taiwan, it screams Dragon Boat Festival, and just screams deliciousness. The balance in this one of meat and fat is much more even. Apparently that's a characteristic of Huzhou zongzi. They don't tend to have fatty options or more lean options. It's all just rather well balanced between fat and meat. The pork in this one is so tender. This morning was also very tender, but this one seems to be an exceptionally tender meat. Let's talk ratings. I completely forgot to rate the breakfast zongzi, but on Google, the 古早味肉粽from breakfast has 3.6 stars, I think, from memory, and I think that's unfair. I'm definitely gonna bump that up. I would say it's a solid 4.2, and this Huzhou zongzi, where I'm sitting right now, they are rated at an amazing 4.5 stars on Google. I'm not too sure if I would go as high as 4.5. It's very good, very delicious, but for me it's a little bit more simple, and I think that's traditional of Huzhou zongzi. They don't have as many ingredients. There's no peanuts, there's no chestnuts, there's no egg yolk. It's just meat and rice, which I guess is what some people would want. And also I should say they're both priced the same, $50 each. So I'm going to give the edge so far to the first zongzi. So I'm going to give this one a 4.1 out of 5. And for lunch, we've come to Shuangwutang, and for the third zongzi of the day, we are going for a North style. Apparently, it's just what my research has told me, but let's get this one open and see any differences and see how it tastes. Okay, so this one looks absolutely delicious, and I would hope so, because it's almost twice the price of the first two. The first two are $50 each, this one is $90 each, but as this is in a real restaurant, I've got some chopsticks. I don't have to get my fingers all sticky, but I still have brought with me my own spicy sauce. We compare this one to the Huzhou zongzi that I just had. The ingredients are next level, very complex ingredients. There's some nice fatty pork, there's little mini mushrooms, there's bigger mushrooms, there looks like onion or sweet potato. Oh no, that's the gambe. What? That's the scallop. That's what we're paying the $90 for. The first big difference I'm noticing is it's not as oily, and that may come from it being steamed. They use a steaming method of cooking rather than boiling. The level of ingredients is just more complex, much more interesting, lots more textures and flavors going on. And this is my first zongzi of the day, including a little bit of egg yolk. I know that's a very common ingredient. And just to comment on the level of meat and fat, I would say that it's a relatively leaner meat. There's still a big chunk of fat, but there's also huge chunks of meat in there. Let's take a look at the size of that big, huge chunk of meat. Not sure if it comes through on camera, but that's definitely the biggest piece of meat I've had in a zongzi today. The meat is maybe a little tougher than I was expecting it to be. Not exactly what I would call melt in the mouth meat, but still relatively yummy. And now let's get that gambe, that scallop, eaten. Oh, that's really well cooked. I like that. Okay, absolutely delicious zongzi, and I think a completely different experience of the first two. The textures are definitely different, and I think that has something to do with the fact that they cook the rice, or they cook the rice in the sauce before they add it to the vegetables. The vegetables are uncooked before they're steamed. So again, the cooking method of this one really affects the textures and the way that it feels in the mouth, so to speak. And to get to a rating for this one, they have 4.1 stars on Google. I would probably agree with that. If that was to be a $50 zongzi, it will be talking 4.5, 4.6, really high rating. But because you're paying extra a bit for those ingredients, then I think the CP balances out. I'll give that a 4.1 out of 5 as it gets on Google. Definitely time for me to go home and take an afternoon power nap. But then in the afternoon, we're going to continue our hunt for zongzi here in Taichung.
谢谢谢谢。好，哎呦，我还担心没办法跟你沟通，你中文很厉害，谢谢你。谢谢。
Okay, it happened again. Every single video, there has to be someone that just doesn't let me pay for my food, and it makes me feel emotional. Crying over $90, but yeah, really. How gantong. Anyway, as I was saying, time to go home and have a nap, and then it's on for some afternoon zongzi. Okay, and for zongzi number 4, we are going with vegetarian option, and for that I've come to local vegetarian restaurant明祖素圆. Excuse my poor Chinese. which is a local vegetarian restaurant, and I believe they follow a kind of Forshin style, which is one of my favorite styles of restaurant, where they make their prices cheap as possible and try to make it easy for people on low incomes to eat nice food. And apparently the lady told me that hers is vegetarian, but she follows the Beibu style of cooking, so a little bit similar to the last one we were just at. On first inspections, it looks pretty similar to the others. The rice does look a little bit longer grain. This almost looks like a basmati Indian style rice to me. I'm guessing the meat looking things, I'm guessing that's tofu or doupi. It looks a bit like doupi. Maybe a dougan of some sort. I thought I was going to have to fake it and say how nice it was, but it's actually really good. Almost like a more smoky flavor. I'm not sure if the leaf is different on this one. This leaf is a little bit lighter, a little bit light brown, as opposed to the green ones that we had before. The rice is much denser, much more substantial, more chewing involved with the rice. Dougan is not something I usually eat, but in this, the flavor is really good, really meaty flavor. And earlier when I went home after lunch for my nap, I took my spicy sauce that I bought this morning and forgot to bring it out, but luckily this restaurant has some Dongchen spicy sauce, so we can give that a taste and see if it's any different or even any better than the sauce we had this morning. Ooh-wee. Is there such a thing as too much Dongchen? I don't think so. Just look at the combination of textures and flavors going on in there. I think there's more textures and flavors going on in this one than there was in the simple Huzhou zongzi that I had for brunch. Oh, that is exceptional. Really good. If you didn't tell me this was vegetarian food, I would have no idea. I'm not sure if it comes through on camera or not, but some of the rice is a little more infused with like a brown sandy color. I guess that's from the leaf. So some of the rice is a bit more flavorsome and fragrant than some of the more untouched rice, so to speak. So again, it makes it really interesting. A round of applause for that delicious zongzi. I'm blown away. So surprised how good that tasted. But it's time to talk ratings, and this one is going to be difficult because I really enjoyed the vegetarian zongzi. But can I give a vegetarian zongzi a higher score or the highest award at端午节when the traditional zongzi is filled with meat? I'm stuck. I really enjoyed it. Probably as much as the first one I enjoyed this morning, which I think I gave a 4.2. I'm forgetting already. Really enjoyed it, but I can't award it the winner just because of the tradition. Can I? It's my channel. Okay, I'm gonna give it even points with the first one that I really enjoyed this morning. On Google, they have a 4.5 star rating, so this place is very highly rated on Google, and I would agree it's really good. It's really delicious. 3 dishes for $100. So this zongzi is 33块。哇，超便宜，超好吃 ，CP 值最高的，真的非常好吃，非常好吃。I think the Forshin aspect makes it much more attractive to Taiwanese people that love supporting businesses that give back to the community. Absolutely delicious, really enjoyed it, and blew my socks off compared to what I thought I was going to be struggling to eat. Really wasn't expecting a lot, but much better than I expected, especially seeing as it's my 4th zongzi of the day. Maybe there's time for a dessert style zongzi. Let's see what we can find. 粽子你在哪里？甜粽你在哪里？ I can't believe that we can't find something so simple. 我要甜的粽子。
是的，就吃冰冰的，吃冰冰凉凉的。
就是一个我的。Okay, so after a little bit of a struggle, we managed to find some tianzong in a market stall, but there's nowhere to eat. So next challenge, find somewhere to go eat this. Okay, so it's time for zongzi number 5, and I feel this is going to be my final zongzi. I've eaten so much sticky rice today. My stomach is going to be in bits tomorrow, so I think 5 is enough. Enough for me, enough for a thumbnail, and enough to make a fair comparison. So we're finishing with this very difficult to find tianzong, and it comes in a green leaf, very similar to the first few that I ate, but it's gonna look very different when I open it, I'm sure. Yes, look at that. And you know what? We don't have the brown sugar to dip it in. But that's okay, we're gonna eat it au naturel. I have absolutely no information on how this is cooked, other than I'm pretty sure it's red bean, but as you can see the appearance is very different. It's like a yellow, almost like caramelized, I'm guessing, rice with a big chunk of hongdo at the top. When the lady was selling it to me, she said, 是冰冰的, and I was like, can I eat it now? She was like, yeah, you can eat it now. But it's not actually 冰冰的, it's just cool. I think if this was really, really ice cold, it would be much better. And I'm not the biggest fan of red bean ordinarily. This is not too bad, a nice subtle hongdo red bean flavor. And the rice is about as sticky or gelatinous as rice can get. You almost can't even make out the individual grains of rice. They've been boiled to an almost state of nothingness. I'm guessing they've added some sugar. It is a little bit sweet. It's not as sweet as an ice cream or a traditional sweet dessert, but just look at that inside. A generous helping of hongdo surrounded by a sweet gelatinous rice. Pretty good. 5 zongzi throughout the course of the day. They were all had their own benefits, and I could see why some people would like some more than others. No Google rating for the sweet variety, but out of all of them, I'd probably say it was my least favorite. So probably dropping down to something like a 3.8 stars, just because the texture didn't really match the temperature. Maybe that was my fault. Maybe iced it would be much better. But if I was to choose my favorite, it's gonna be a tough choice between the first one that I ate early this morning and number 4, the vegetarian option. So I recommend anybody that wants to try something new to go and try a vegetarian zongzi. And if you're looking for a more traditional zongzi, then definitely head to the one that I went to first this morning. Or of course, do what you're probably gonna do and eat the ones that your grandmother makes for you. I'm sure they are the most delicious and everybody will agree with me. But I think it's time to say goodbye. And of course, happy Dragon Boat Festival. We have a 4-day holiday next week. So comment down below, tell me where you're going, what you're doing, if you have any special plans. But as found as always, time to say goodbye. So I'll see you next time in My Life in Taiwan. Peace, bye bye.